Hey guys, PhazePlays here with a new and improved version of the first build I ever covered, Lightning SRS Champion. Summon Raging Spirits are fast and hyper-aggressive melee minions. It's super fun to play, and the new Mercenaries have added a new interesting layer of power to the build. It's the strongest version of SRS that Path of Exile has ever had. It has enormous damage and incredible defenses. It's a fantastic bosser that has fewer visibility issues than most builds. With solid gear, mapping is smooth and satisfying. Minions naturally spread out and have nice coverage with splash damage. Recovery can sometimes be iffy, but it's solvable with Vitality or swapping in Holy Relic into the trigger weapon. The build runs haste with massive aura effect. Mobility is fantastic. Every skill is snappy and responsive. It's a strong, well-rounded build that can handle anything in the game. Watching minions spread out and mow down packs of enemies is enjoyable to watch. It is somewhat unique dependent. March of the Legion is the centerpiece of the build, so it's required. To solve mana costs, you'll likely want the Devouring Diadem helmet. And of course, equipping your Mercenary with Doryani's prototype elevates damage to an entirely new level. The playstyle can be very active, especially for single target. The upside of the active playstyle is that there's a lot of rewarding visual feedback. After pressing Smite or Curse, you'll see the damage increase instantly, visual ramping. There are two key aura buttons, Smite and Divineblessing. Smite is a melee attack with quite a bit of reach. Hitting an enemy with Smite serves three purposes. First, your character will radiate a powerful lightning damage aura for 6 to 8 seconds, hugely buffing your minions. Second, it applies the effects of Champion's Worthy Foe. Lastly, it can apply 25% lightning exposure with the Elemental Equilibrium and Avatar of Fire. Divineblessing is a temporary aura socketed in March of the Legion that lasts for 18 to 24 seconds. This aura is often haste. Here are the rough sizes and durations of Smite and Divineblessing in an endgame setup. Keep in mind that minions must be inside the radius and in your character's line of sight to gain the aura benefits. SRS gets linked to Unleash to release multiple skulls per cast. They'll initially travel towards your cursor and will then aggressively chase and attack anything in their sight. Blessed Rebirth ensures damage uptime and enables us to mostly avoid investing into minion defenses. Mousing over a target while casting SRS will make them only attack that specific target. Great for bursting down priority targets. For mapping, it's mostly a 2-button build with an occasional smite. Always keep your Divineblessing active and cast SRS as needed. When you encounter a tanky rare or boss, hit it once with smite and then perhaps cast your curse if it has a lot of health. Bossing is a bit more active. The first priority is maintaining the smite aura, Divineblessing, and curse. The second priority is regularly casting SRS. The goal should be to maintain the cap of 20 minions. When good damage windows open up, use Vol Haste and Vol Smite for incredible burst damage. For the Mercenary, we use the Fallen Reverend, a Strength Intelligence hybrid. It provides a high-level Wrath aura and desecrates corpses for our flesh offering. As a bonus, it can even create minions of its own with Absolution and Raised Spectre of Transience. It's hard to gauge the damage of these minions, but remember, your damage auras affect them too. The Perkle's Toe amulet anointed with Leadership also provides a huge damage boost and extra radius for Wrath. Of course, the Mercenary also serves as a Doryani's prototype debuffer. Doryani's, coupled with negative lightning resistance rings, is an unreal damage multiplier. Doryani's has a radius of 6 meters. This means that you may occasionally need to use the Order to Me ability to teleport the Mercenary next to bosses or other priority targets. Some example Mercenary gear loadouts can be found in the Path of Building. For Ascendancy, we go Champion for the aura effect, tankiness, and damage. Fortitude provides heavy mitigation, and it even helps keep the Doryani Mercenary alive. Inspirational scales our auras, including the lightning damage from Smite and Haste. Worthy Foe is a nice damage boost, and means minion accuracy isn't all that important. First to strike, last to fall acts mostly as a sort of cheat death. The Intimidate here isn't reliable. In Path of Building, there are a few different loadouts. Earlygame is no Doryani's. This setup sockets Anger into March of the Legion and uses Elemental Weakness. I leveled to 100 with this setup in Hardcore Solo Self-Found. Damage was surprisingly good. Midgame and Endgame are both Doryani setups. This uses Punishment and drops Elemental Equilibrium and Avatar of Fire as they don't work with Doryani's. Note that Resolute Technique is required early game so that Smite doesn't miss. After multi-modding a hits can't be evaded weapon, drop Resolute Technique to save 2 points. There are 3 different skill gem sets, early game, mid game, and end game. Run MeleeSplash for mapping and swap it out for multi-strike for any serious bossing. In March of the Legion, Smite, Generosity, and Empower grant huge damage to nearby minions. If running a haste or grace divine blessing, be sure it's not linked to generosity. However, anger should be linked to generosity. Vitality isn't required, but it's nice to sustain, and it also heals the mercenary and any of its minions. Since the mercenary casts Desecrate, we get Feeding Frenzy from the trigger weapon instead. Either link it with SRS of Enormity for good Feeding Frenzy uptime, or swap in Holy Relic when doing difficult content that requires extra life regen. There are 3 Vol skills worth consideration: Vol Haste, Vol Smite, and Vol Molten Shell. Pick any 2 of these to run, as 3 is often excessive. Let's quickly go over gearing. Craft the Karui Scepter with recombinators. Early on, recombinate minion damage with cast speed, then multi-mod. Recombinate further if going for +1 fire or +1 all. The shield is recombinated, slam together minion damage with T1 life. Recombinate further if going for a +2 all max res suffix. Fill up suffixes, slam a Hunter Exalt prefix, then finish crafting suffixes. The helmet is Devouring Diadem. There are 14 unveils now, and only 4 of them are good for the build. On a budget, craft chest prefixes with Dense Fossils. Endgame, Fracture Suppression, and then do prefixes with Harvest Reforged Defense. Finally, lock prefixes and Reforge Physical until satisfied. Gloves are crafted with a Resistance or Attribute Essence until T1 Suppression. If there's an open suffix, lock suffixes then Reforge Chaos. Finally, lock suffixes, Reforge Life until satisfied, block physical damage with attacks, Exalt, then craft minion damage. Of course, we rock the March of the Legion boots. +5 aura gems roll here is the most important, followed by movement speed. Required amulet mods are life, cast speed, and the minion movement speed craft. Endgame amulets will likely recombinate +1 all skills with T1 life. Next, craft multi-mod, prefix cannot be changed, and cannot roll attack modifiers. Then harvest augment fire to guarantee +1 fire. Then lock prefixes, reforge speed for cast speed, and go from there. Craft amethyst rings with harvest reforge chaos. Once you have good suffixes, lock suffixes and reforge life. Bone rings become much easier to craft with a decent fracture. Darkness and Throne is uncontested. Aim for a 90% roll or higher. This is generally where your strongest ghastly jewels should go. Craft ghastly jewels with Harvest Reforged Lightning. Fractures are fantastic here, but tend to be quite expensive. On the medium cluster, we want Blessed Rebirth and Renewal. This takes around 600 alterations on average. Craft early game large clusters with Harvest Reforged Caster until Call of the Slaughter and minion attack speed or 25% effect. Endgame large clusters are crafted with alterations. Get 35% effect and 3% minion attack cast speed, around 2000 alterations on average. Then imprint, regal, exalt, possibly a null then exalt as needed. Fracturing can be great here if you hit 3 good mods. Be sure to check out the Path of Building notes, as there's a lot of useful stuff in there. There's also some crafting advice near the bottom. Here are some quick SRS tips. Run the 30% minion AoE mastery for mapping and then swap it to 20% offering effect for bossing. Take this mastery if you'd prefer to press Divine Blessing less often and have better smite uptime. Do not try playing this build without Blessed Rebirth. Minion movement speed is a great stat as it increases damage uptime and adds more value to Blessed Rebirth. Grab the caster mastery here if you like to farm Abyss Hordes with Edifice Scarabs. Runegraft of the Warp is fantastic. It even works on things like Feeding Frenzy, Holy Relic Life Regen, Molten Shell, among others. Swap out SRS of Enormity for Holy Relic when doing difficult content that requires extra life regen for you or your mercenary. Click like and subscribe if you enjoy the build guide. As always, thanks for watching.